Welcome to the CE Pro podcast. I'm Executive Editor Arlen Schweiger. Custom integrators are always on the lookout for those problem solver helper types of products for their installations. A new one to check out is from Olibra, which is launching this month the Pro installer version of their Bond Bridge device, the Bond Bridge Pro, which helps integrate things like ceiling fans, fireplaces, and shades into smart home ecosystems. Olibra CEO Zohar Shinar, along with guest Alan Chow of Chow, Maine Software and Apps, tells us why CE Pros should be excited about the new Bond Bridge Pro, what kinds of applications it can solve, and how it will integrate into today's smart home systems. Zohar Shinar, CEO of Olibra, makers of the Bond Bridge and Bond Bridge Pro products, and Alan Chow, Managing Director of Chow, Maine Software and Apps. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the CE Pro podcast today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
So Zohar, let's start with you. You guys have an exciting product. Olibra is, I think, pretty new to the industry. I know you guys were at the, I believe, in the Tech Bytes competition at the CEDIA Virtual Expo last fall, but can you tell us a bit about the company, where you're based, and what you guys specialize in?
Sure. Olibra was founded in 2016. We launched our first product in 2018, and we operate exclusively in the connected home space. We've launched a Bond Bridge, which is a sub-gigahertz RF to Wi-Fi bridge, making all the non-smart RF remote control appliances in the house, such as ceiling fan, fireplaces, Somfy motorized shades, and other brands, smart, without the need to replace them. And since then, we evolved. We have a complete IoT platform. You can find our product in a lot of out-of-the-box smart ceiling fan, retrofit kits for ceiling fan and lighting, landscape lighting. And now today, we are talking about our upcoming launch in 2 weeks of the Bond Bridge Pro, which was designed based on the feedback we got from dealers using our Bond Bridge with Alan Chow drivers with Control 4 and other home automation systems. And we're very excited about the launch.
That's great. Well, congratulations on the launch. So now the Bond Bridge Pro is directly targeting the Pro installers, the CEDIA installers, the CE Pro audience. And it's coming right around the corner. So in terms of the features, the differences between the Bond Bridge Pro and the Bond Bridge, what are some of the ways that it differentiates between the products, and what can dealers expect?
So yeah, after talking to multiple dealers, we realized that they love the idea of going into a job and connecting a lot of appliances that are not connected without doing any wiring, without any workarounds. Just use the hub. No need for line of sight, and learn the remote controls of those appliances. What was missing is the robustness on the IP side and power supply in different type of installation. So that's where we brought in Ethernet and PoE. So the Bond Bridge Pro has better range on the sub-gigahertz RF. It has PoE, it has Ethernet and Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz, and also the ecosystem that we created up until now for the Bond Bridge was extended for this product. We're extending the warranty for 3 years. We know it's important for for the dealers, and we're also extending customer support. We have customer support 7 days a week. It's not a mistake, 7 days a week, because we want to be able to solve problems when pro installers are on the site completing a job.
Right, and certainly pro installer customers, they've come to expect that kind of 24/7 support, I think, from their dealers. So having that is definitely a huge thing. Zohar, I'll let either you or Alan can jump in on this one. So for the custom integrator audience, in terms of the capabilities, obviously the smart home sector encompasses a huge range of products these days. And I'm sure they're going to be incredibly excited to have a product that can make, for lack of a better term, a dumb appliance smart. But tell us a little bit again about just the different types of applications that they'll be able to use for that, and basically what the installation process is going to look like. And like I said, Zohar, you could start on that, and perhaps we'll throw it over to Alan as well.
I'll talk about how the product is being paired to control a random appliance. And I think that Alan can give a lot of insight about the other side. Once it's connected, how it can be become part of a full home automation in a connected house environment. So from the product perspective, the frequency range of the Broaden Bridge Pro is 300 to 450 megahertz. That will cover appliances such as ceiling fans, and it doesn't matter which brand, and fireplaces and some motorized shades that are on single frequency 434 with rolling code RF, all kind of different RF communication that are non-documented. The Broaden Bridge device is able to learn these remotes and communicate with the appliances. In addition to that, there's different software features we can talk about later that we can add and increase the functionality of an existing appliance. For example, Somfy Shade has an up and down midpoint, and with software, for example, we can add a Somfy slider. So we're actually making this device smart and smarter. So once the setup is complete, which is basically downloading the Broaden Home app, connecting the Broaden Bridge to Wi-Fi or via Ethernet, setting up an account, and then just aiming the remote control at the Broaden Bridge, letting the Broaden Bridge to learn the remote. In most cases, it's already a remote control in our database, and that's pretty much it. And I think that Alan can take it from here.
Quick question before we go to Alan, actually, and just for my purposes, and perhaps this is a dumb question, although they say there are no dumb questions. If you have several products that you're going to be integrating with this, do you need multiple Broaden Bridge Pros, or will one Broaden Bridge Pro be the hub of everything?
That's actually a great question, because it has to do with the performance of the product and also the nature of the technology. So because we are an RF2 IP bridge, one Broaden Bridge can be placed in a central location in the home and does not need line of sight. So it means that one Broaden Bridge Pro will be able to control a lot of appliances in a large house. And also the range of the Broaden Bridge Pro is improved. One more thing, the Broaden Bridge Pro needs to communicate on frequencies between 300 to 450 megahertz that travel in space better than the 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz. So that the range inside the job for a pro dealer is actually pretty good. It's very rare that we've heard that more than one Broaden Bridge is required on a job.
Okay, so when we're talking about a lot of the typical large scale homes that CE pros are going to be working with, 2,500 to 5,000 square feet, for example, something like that, it's robust enough to handle that kind of coverage.
Yes, and if they have 40 shades and 4 ceiling fans and 2 fireplaces, exactly these numbers, for example, one Broaden Bridge Pro will take care of all of them.
Wow. Okay, that's great. So let's continue on with that and move to Alan. Alan, before we have you add to that, I just want to introduce you more and your company as well. I know there's a contingent of CE pros that I think are pretty familiar with your company. We've mentioned it over the years, but for those who haven't heard of Chow, Maine, can you tell us a little bit about your company and the perspective you bring to this type of product, and a little bit about where you're based, what you do. I understand that you are actually quite a few time zones away, for one thing. So we appreciate you joining us here in the Eastern time zone of the US.
Excellent. Yeah, so we are a Melbourne-based software development company specializing in integration of hardware like Bond into the home automation systems in the CI industry. So the systems that we develop for are control for Crestron, LAN, RTI, QSYS, and URC. All of our staff have a CI background, so we've been integrators before, or we work with distributors. So we know what integrators are looking for, what gaps are in the market, and how to fill those gaps. And the Broaden Bridge filled a massive gap in the market for integration of blinds, fans, and all of those other devices.
So you've already been developing drivers for the consumer version of this product and dealing with it for a bit now.
Yeah, so the Broaden Bridge came on our radar, say about 2 years ago now. And we were amazed by the product because there are a lot of gaps in the market that needed to be filled. So a good example of that is fans. So a lot of the times integrators would come on site and the homeowner would already purchase the fan. So that fan could be a non-controllable fan, so just a dumb fan that you just manually turn on and off via a hard control, or an RF fan, for example, that has its own proprietary RF remotes. So the good news is that with the Bond products, you can actually control all of the fans, whether it is RF based, which you use the Bond Bridge or the Bond Bridge Pro, or if it's a dumb fan, you can actually retrofit Smart by Bond technology into the fan using a fan speed controller. So the fan speed controller will actually come with its own little RF remote, but on top of that, it will connect up via IP to your network, which will allow for integration to the control systems. A lot of fans already have this technology built in as well, so you don't need this kit to retrofit the technology in it. You can just buy fans like the Minka fans, for example, that would already have this technology built. On top of fans as well, one of the big issues was blinds. So there are a lot of blinds out there that have no control, or they would have control that will be hard to integrate. So a good example is the Somfy RTS blinds, which Zohar mentioned earlier. The Somfy RTS blinds you've been able to integrate it for many years using other methods. But the problem with those methods is that you'd have to run RS-232 or RS-485 based cables to connect it to one of the Somfy RTS controllers, like the RTS 485 transmitter, for example. The issue with that is may not reach the ends of the home. So with the Bond Bridge, where it's Wi-Fi and you just chuck it in, you could easily add in additional Bond bridges if it's not enough. But as Zohar mentions, in a lot of cases, it is enough. For example, one of our staff members, he has concrete walls for the internals of his home. And he's only got one Bond bridge, and that's controlling all the blinds in his house, which is amazing.
Yeah, even with all that concrete in there, which ordinarily wreaks havoc on systems, right?
That's correct. It's a massive attenuator, and it manages to penetrate those concrete walls to control the blinds on the windows and the edges of a home, all from a central location.
And in terms of the Bond Bridge Pro, what gets you jazzed up to go from the consumer version to the Pro version in terms of the extra capabilities, the PoE capabilities? Why would installers opt for that product over other types of solutions or other types of system designs, to try and replicate the capabilities?
Yep. So the Bond Bridge Pro makes installation a bit more reliable. So with the Bond Bridge, you are still reliant on Wi-Fi technology. So if the wireless access point has any sort of issues, you've got a poor network, you're reliant on the customer's network, which may not be a professional grade wireless network, then if the network goes down, then the Bond Bridge will go down. So with power over Ethernet, it's a lot more robust. So one, you're communicating via Ethernet, so you don't have those wireless issues, and it also provides power. So it's one cable that provides both. On top of that as well, there are wall and ceiling mount solutions as well. So you will get less attenuation. So that means that rather than hiding it behind a cabinet or inside a rack or somewhere else, you can mount it much like a wireless access point on the ceiling, on walls, where there are less things in the way that can attenuate the signal.
Okay.
And lastly, which is the biggest part, is the increase in power on the device means that there is additional coverage. So, in some of the cases, one bridge may not reach the furthest corners, which I've honestly ever seen once out of all the integrators that I've spoken to. But this gives it that extra little bit, which will help in those scenarios.
Great. And I was going to I was going to add, or going to ask you about, in terms of system design, obviously when we're dealing with the CEDIA channel, they're looking to do everything that can integrate with third-party control systems, all those great companies that you mentioned before. And so I imagine that that would also be a huge benefit of the Pro version of the product. And can you tell us how that's been kind of playing around already with potential drivers for this product and integrating it with those types of automation systems?
Yep, so we've integrated the Bond Bridge and the Bond Bridge Pro into Control 4, into LAN, into RTI, and URC, Total Control. So integration into those systems is relatively simple. For example, with Control 4, it will discover the Bond Bridge and Bond Bridge Pro on your network. So you don't need to set static IP addresses. With a simple click of a button, it will import all of the devices into your control system, which makes programming really easy. You can map buttons to keypads on the wall. You can, program macros to, make the device even smarter. So a good example is, for example, today in Melbourne, it's 30-degree days. It's blistering hot. That's in Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Much different here, 30 degrees.
It is. 30 degrees will be freezing cold over there. So, my house knows that it's going to be a 30-degree day today. So it knows not to open the blinds to, keep the temperature as cool as possible throughout the day. So that's one example of what you can do. My theatre, for example, also has windows in the theatre. So it will open and close blinds when I start the projector up. So when I press watch and I select a movie, the blind will start closing down, projector turns on, and the magic starts happening. Things like that.
Right, okay. And so then with the blinds also, it could tell your ceiling fan then to start going as well.
Yeah, exactly. So a good example for ceiling fans as well is that we can now tie it in with your HVAC system. So we can kind of boost air circulation in the room to, say, spread the heat around the room rather than in the ceilings. So we can tie that in to turn when someone turns on the heating system, or let's say they turn on the cooling system, they can boost the fan effects using this as well.
Great. So it sounds like the Pro version is really simplifying the whole topology of a system. I don't want to say to the point of plug and play, but it sounds like it's pretty darn close.
Yeah, I mean, we've actually worked really closely with the guys at Libra to make sure that Bond products is as easy as possible for integrators to use. So they've implemented a lot of our suggestions. Like, for example, we suggested to them about adding a level slider so that people can close the blinds by a certain percentage, so that we can do something like, I don't know, like follow the sun, for example, where we will close it to a certain percentage so that you can still get light in the room, but it also keeps out the heat.
Great. And Zohar, it sounds like there might not be a huge amount of training needed for this product, but for dealers who are looking to be more educated on the product, what can you tell us about what Olibra is doing in terms of supplying resources, educational material, marketing material, or any other kind of support that would be at dealers' disposal?
Yeah, so we are, as I said in the beginning, we are launching the product in the next 2 weeks, and we're working with a few distributors, looking for also distribution in the US, because they're going to be providing some of that training and marketing material. But the product is also available on our website, so there's information about the product on our website. We have specs that we are happy to share with dealers that are interested in that. We have an explainer video that is coming out soon. And we're sharing a lot of material with the distributors, knowing that they will have the lion's share of communication with the majority of the dealers.
All right, and any other information you could share about that in terms of how dealers, not only in the U.S., but obviously, Alan talking to us from Australia, we know it sounds like obviously, dealers in other countries are going to want this product. What is going to be the best way for them to go about either contacting you in terms of figuring out how they can order it, or, just working to procure the product when it does launch?
So thanks to Alan, we have 2 distributors in Australia, Convergent Technologies and Entertainment Environments. We have a distributor in Canada, Product Solution Group in Nigeria, V2D in South Africa, Inland System. And we are working now with multiple distributors in the US. So there's no names I can actually mention yet, but I'm pretty confident that some of the bigger distributors in this industry will carry the product in the next few months. For now, the product is available on our website, which is www.bondhome.io, and it's available for pre-order. And the next 2 weeks, we're going to start shipping.
All right, sounds good. And we're obviously at CE Pro will be certainly happy to share that information once those distributor partners are announced. Just one last thing about beta testing with this product. I know Alan mentioned that he's been working with the Bond Bridge quite a bit, and I'm sure you have had other dealers who have used that as kind of more of a DIY product. Zohar, can you tell us anything more that you've heard from dealers who have that experience and have contacted you and sort of led you to this Bond Bridge Pro version, or any conversations that you might have had at the CEDIA Expo virtual show last fall, and what kind of things that they're looking forward to about the product?
Yeah, so we've talked with a lot of dealers who got some experience with the Bond Bridge, and were able to provide excellent feedback and a lot of good ideas based on their experience in the field and the needs they see that are changing. So it's true that what Alan said is that now Olibra is offering a wide array of solution for specifically ceiling fans, but also shades, whether it's connectivity on a legacy product, existing product, whether it's a universal receiver transmitter for ceiling fan being sold in Home Depot and many other channels. But specifically for the Bond Bridge Pro, the Bond Bridge Pro is a very, very capable product. And the dealers, they totally understand that. So when we're talking to them, they say, okay, now I want a switch on the wall that when I click on it, it will act as a wired switch to, control the shades or the ceiling fan or the fireplace, whatever it is, but it's actually a battery operated switch, which just communicating with the Bond Bridge through RF. That's the beauty about this product. Low frequency RF travels very nice in a home environment. So we're looking into providing support for all of those features through software updates. And the idea, and I think that we've held, we were able to fulfill that commitment on the consumer side, that we're constantly updating and upgrading the product through firmware and software upgrade, whether it's for the app or for the firmware. And as you said, with our relationship with Alan, we're always communicating. So we're making sure that as we're adding these features, they will be available or reflected, mirrored in the drivers that Alan is constantly developing and improving on.
Wow, and like Alan said earlier, it sounds like this really, there is a real need for a product like this in the marketplace, and I'm sure from the Pro channel side, they must be really excited for the launch of this product. It sounds like it has a lot of potential in today's IoT world with everything that's going on in the home. So again, Alan Chow of Chow, Maine, and Zohar Shinar of Olibra, we thank you guys very much for walking us through this exciting product. And we're really looking forward to the launch and hearing about some real world examples of how the dealers are going to start using it.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
All right, thank you.